Welcome to Imperfect Momming. Our children are constantly looking to us for examples. The term role model doesn't quite cut it here. We are shaping their worldview with every move we make. You see, it's not in the lectures we give or moments where we are actively attempting to teach them. It's in the micro movements we make, the unconscious ways in which we navigate life. We are constantly teaching our children how to show up for themselves, their friends, their future partners, and even their future children. So what can we do to ensure we are raising thoughtful, compassionate, self-aware human beings? We have to become them ourselves. No one is perfect, but we can still all be better, and it starts with self-healing. Let's get to it. So welcome to the Imperfect Momming podcast. We have a very special guest today, and she's special because she's one of my bestie friends. This is Erin Goffin. Welcome to Imperfect Momming.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So tell our listeners who you are and what you do.
I am Erin Goffin. I am a Neuro-Transformational Results Master Coach and Productivity Specialist. I help entrepreneurial moms juggle their lives and businesses without sacrifice or guilt. So I help them with clarity and mindset, organization, productivity, self-care, and growth.
Awesome. All of that is so good. And I'm glad you explained it, because to people that aren't me and you, we might not know what a neurotransformational whoozy-wuddy.
Yeah.
I think you have a blog about a neurotransformational what? A neuro what?
Yes, that's it. A neuro what?
So tell me how you got on this path. How did you decide that you wanted to help entrepreneurial moms with all of the stuff that you just mentioned?
Okay, about 20 years ago, I started my first business, and I followed a coach for the last, I don't know, it must be 15 years now. And then he offered a coaching package or coaching certification. And I thought, this can help me with my business and grow my business, find out where I'm blocked. I took the course, and in the middle of it thought, this can help so many women. And I pivoted because this was just the most amazing thing. And I just kept following him, and I kept doing more certifications and found my perfect place of where I need to be right now.
Awesome. And I've personally experienced a lot of your organizational skills, because I used to think I was organized, and then I met you and realized I'm not organized at all. So one of the things that this podcast is about is how self-healing has made us better parents. And so I know that that's part of your story. What's some things that you noted that you got from this coaching certification and personal development in general that you weren't anticipating with regards to parenting?
Pretty much everything. Because
right.
It was amazing. I have an older son with major mental health issues, and going through that process with therapy with him and group therapy and my own therapy with him was one thing, and I learned a lot there. But with the coaching, it put so much stuff. You're able to tangibly do something. Sorry.
It's all right.
So it would give me ways to deal and ways to help him. And it changed a lot of how I communicated with my children, where therapy is great and it was for me to help and talk, but the coaching is an in-depth sort of changes your brain, reframes your mind, makes you a better communicator. I'm able to connect with my kids a lot better. I can't say enough about it. And that made me such a better mother just because it taught me how to do that.
I totally agree, which is why I started the podcast, because I want more moms to know about this. But I just remember looking at my son one time and thinking that I was seeing fear on his face because, I snapped at him or something. And one of the things that we do as a coach is we learn to ask questions about what just happened on your face instead of assuming that I know what that facial expression means. And so I asked him, what was that face that you just made? And he said, I'm afraid of being in trouble, or I don't want to be in trouble. And I thought he was afraid of me. And just the weight that lifted off of me was so incredible. So I get you completely.
Asking the right questions and knowing when to back off.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. I've learned so much about that. So tell me more about your organizational stuff, because to me, you're the organization queen, especially with a business. And I know not all of our listeners are entrepreneurs, but it works with a business. It works with running a household, because you can even look at, being the CEO of your life, whether or not you have a business outside of your family.
Oh, absolutely. You need to be the CEO, or now I'm starting to call it the executive of your whole, you are the operations manager of your household. So you need to have systems in place. And people generally do, like when we were in high school, we knew each class, or even in school, we knew each class, it was all broken down. This is what work you had to do. And then we got older and it wasn't the same. We didn't have the blocks of time. We didn't have someone telling us, this is what you need to do. You had a boss saying, okay, I need this done. You can have a week to do it. Or if you're an entrepreneur, it's changing the mindset between employer to employee. And with me, I have 3 kids, 2 are chronic illnesses, the one with the mental health issues, and then my daughter, who very young found out she had a thyroid issue, and then a younger kid, and a traveling husband. And now I'm single with 3 kids and trying to run everything. You need some sort of systems. And I help people with a plan for themselves. So take their life, what their life is like, where they're having the biggest frustrations, what they can do to help those frustrations. Is it menu planning? Is it organizing your finances better? And either paper and pen or automated. And technology. It's such a big part of our life that we shouldn't be living just to be doing everything for everyone. And being reactive, I guess, is what it is.
Right.
So what's going on around you and not getting anything done, and then you feel frustrated.
Yeah, when you have set a set idea of what you're doing during the day, and you don't, it obviously, if a kid falls and breaks a bone, you're going to have to react to that. But that typically doesn't happen on a daily basis. And if it does, we might need to look at different things that are going on in your life.
Well, it came to the point where my kids had everything on Wednesday, therapy, everything. And I was getting frustrated that I wasn't doing my business. And then I reframed it saying, today's kids support day. And it changed so much. Thinking, okay, Wednesday's kids support day, I'm not working.
Yeah. I love that you brought that up, because I think that sometimes, there's things that we can shift in our schedule. There's physical things that we can do. We can set block time. I know Pomodoros are super popular right now, but our other friend,
Pomodoros, yes.
Yeah, our other friend Erin was resisting them for so long, and now she's all about them. But we can do those kinds of things, but there's sometimes we don't need to change anything except the way that we're thinking about something. So my example for that is, it was my job in my relationship. We agreed that I do the day-to-day stuff. So I do the kitchen and the laundry, and then, my boyfriend will do the vacuuming, the cleaning the toilet, like the weekly things, taking out the trash, all that kind of stuff. and he would get to do that on one day. And I actually learned to enjoy laundry by switching the way that I thought about it, because his love language is acts of service and he hates doing laundry. Who doesn't hate doing laundry? But I legitimately switched my mind into like, I'm not doing the laundry. I'm loving my boyfriend and I'm loving my son. And so they can have clean clothes and not have to worry about it. And then I did the systems thing too, where I found the time in my schedule where I was going to do it. And I learned that we produce about 3/4 of a load of laundry per day. So there's even a day built in there that I don't have to do laundry because it doesn't build up if I stay on top of it with my schedule. So I prefer to do it every day. I like routine. I like the schedule. That's my preference. And so that's not only how I learned to enjoy laundry, but how I, decreased a little bit of the crazy.
And that's the big thing, is you don't have to do everything all at once. If you do a little bit at a time, you're still getting things done. And the mindset of perfectionism is you won't start it unless you can do the whole thing. Well, you don't have to, because even that tiny little bit makes you feel good. It's a good win.
And I really feel like that perfectionist is kind of what drives a lot of us crazy and really sucks the joy out of stuff. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it leads to so much stuff. It leads to resistance and procrastination and everything else. And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah. And I'm not saying my house is perfectly clean. You can see behind me it's clean because I straightened that up before each appointment.
I have
Right?
a pony. Yes.
And there's little things that we can do. I guess we're going to talk about house cleaning. There's little things that we can do where if we have people coming over, honestly, if somebody shows up unannounced in your house, then they get what they get. That's how I see it. And I don't even apologize. Like, we live here. If you're showing up unannounced, I'm not even apologizing for how my house looks. But also just that little 15 minutes a day keeps on top of it, maybe 15-30 minutes if you throw in, a load of laundry too. Gosh, when I realized that loading and unloading the dishwasher takes literally 5 minutes, I stopped hating dishes too, because it's like, come on, 5 minutes. Like, I can do anything for 5 minutes. I gave birth. I could do anything for 5 minutes,
Yes. And that's what's good about Pomodoros too. You give yourself 25 minutes, you can run around your house. If you knew someone was coming down the block, your house would be clean when they got there. But also, if people are just going to drop by, then they know you well enough, hopefully, that they know that you live there and it's your house. And yep.
Yeah, in a perfect world. And then, I mean, we could even go into the judgmental people that try to make you feel bad for your house being dirty. And it's like, I need to have boundaries around you.
Yes, that's a whole other thing, is the boundaries. Yes.
Whole nother topic. Yes.
Yes.
So we might have to have you back for that. So, so one thing that I'd love to hear from you is, what is a piece of advice that you would like to give to my mommy listeners?
That it doesn't have to be hard. You can make things very simple. Do, like you said, a little bit at a time will get you there, and just set up some systems that make it easier.
Yeah. And honestly, I had a coaching call with a friend of mine who was feeling super overwhelmed about all the things that she wanted to do. And sometimes it's as simple as making a list. And I know that that's my experience too. I think I texted you one day where I was like, I wrote down everything that I need to do. And I'm like dancing through Target today because I just felt so light that it's like, I can't even describe it. It was so different how I was feeling after writing down everything that I was holding on in my brain.
It's the brain dump. And that's the first thing I teach anybody. And I do that for my weekly CEO meetings. The first thing is do a brain dump. And you'd be amazed how much just that will help your brain.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to hold it all in our minds. Like I mean, we live, to me, a lot of people think that the 80s were the best because there's no technology and all that, but no, we live in such a cool time right now. We have technology at our fingertips, and if you embrace it, it can really help you. And there's also, paper and pen.
Mhm.
A notepad is what, 99 cents at the dollar. Like it does, it's not even that expensive. Certain times of the year you can get them for 25 cents, four for a dollar,
Exactly. And I was resisting Google Calendar for so long, and now it's like my lifeline because I can recur the tasks, do recurring tasks. I know the birthdays. I can see what's happening at Christmas. So it's just, yeah. Sometimes you embrace it. I still love paper and pen, but sometimes you just embrace something that makes it easier, and you just becomes a habit.
I really, really love a paper calendar. Like, I love a paper calendar, but it just, what you just said, I'm so glad you've embraced Google, because I mean, having a reoccurring appointment, like I have, especially, oh my gosh, during COVID and having to be responsible for kids and their and school and knowing what time Zoom starts. And I mean, my son's school was literally 8:30, 10:15, 11:45, and 2 o'clock. I barely know what time it is right now, and it's like, my son just volunteered that it's 10:19 our time. So, you know, having having an alarm go off 1 minute before, that's all he needs is a minute. And sometimes I'll look at the clock and be like, oh, it's 10:25. You've got 5 more minutes. And sometimes I don't. It just depends on how like entrenched in whatever I'm doing that I get. Like, time flies,
Mhm.
whether you're having fun or not, sometimes it flies. So setting up little reminders on my calendar has been a godsend during, distance learning.
Oh, absolutely. And my ex and I have a weird custody arrangement where we rent a condo and we go back and forth to the house, so the kids stay there. So I can look and say, oh, Christmas, am I at the condo or am I at the house? Who's got the kids? What do I have to rearrange? So it definitely, that's one of the saving things that I have. And it's the only one shift that I make. I still use paper for my daily, everything I have to do for daily, but that calendar gives me a nice broad view, and I don't have to keep rewriting it every month for all the recurring stuff. So,
Right. And sometimes there's something, I don't know, I'm like a little kid when it comes to like writing things in my paper calendar. Like, I want to write those things down, the reoccurring things, but
yes,
it's not practical when you own a
not
business,
efficient.
when it's not efficient, when you have a family. Like, I only have one son and a boyfriend, so I don't have too many schedules to juggle. But it's, for moms that have more than one, it really is helpful to know when doctor's appointments are and this,
Mhm.
that, and the other thing. So,
Yeah, and because it's perpetual, it's always there. And that's, yeah, so that's the one big habit that I changed, and it made a huge difference.
that's
So it's
awesome.
just little things, just
Yeah.
changing one little thing. You don't have to change your whole life.
Yeah, but one little thing can change your whole life. Like,
Yes,
it's
it
amazing.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one question that I didn't prepare you for beforehand, and it's okay if you can't think of something off the top of your head, but
Last question was, okay, yes.
the last question was also off the, without your warning.
Okay.
But books. So is there any personal development book that has been really impactful for you, or something that you think would be really helpful to moms? And like I said, I didn't give you any prep time, so if you can't think of anything,
There are so many books. I'm just
got one
about to
next to her.
start Chop Wood, Carry Water. I'm just about to start this one. I love any of the badass books. They're
Yes.
fantastic. I listen to those on Audible though. So
Yeah.
there's some that I do Audible, really short ones I'll do Audible. But I'm just about to start Chop Wood, Carry Water. So.
And I've read Chop Wood, Carry Water also, and it's really good for business. And the mindset of like, I'm going to do little bits of every day, and it builds the habit, and it creates, it's been a minute since I've read it. But I remember really liking it, and it feeling like, oh, there's a purpose to me doing this every single day. Like, I've had my business for my direct sales business for 10 years. So it can get boring doing the same thing over and over again, but that book kind of puts it into perspective.
Oh, good.
And I liked reading the badass books with hard copy, and I audible listened to, what is her name? The other one, Rachel Hollis.
Okay.
I
Yes.
listened to her audibly. Something about her voice really resonates with me. And not that Jen Sincero doesn't resonate with me. I haven't heard her voice, to be honest, but I remember I bought the first copy of You Are a Badass, and I just devoured it. It was so good. And then the Badass at Making Money took a little bit longer because the chapters were longer, and I didn't like starting a chapter if I couldn't finish it in my 30 minutes of reading time. And then I've kind of gotten over that. But and then I didn't like the You Are a Badass Daily or whatever she put out in the interim, but the new one is Badass Habits, and that's also a really good one.
I haven't read that one, so I'll do that one too.
Did you?
I like the habits thing.
Yeah. It was really, really good. It talked about identities in a way, and boundaries. Like, it really broke down boundaries.
Oh, good.
So good. Anyway, we just threw a lot of books at you. But I want to thank you, Erin, for showing up today and pouring into our guests the way that you have, and the way that you always do. Can you tell people where to find you?
Sure. My website is eringoffin.com, and I have a Facebook group called Uplevel Your Life and Business, where we also have weekly online meets, ups called Coaching, Coffee, and Calories, for support for women that just need to vent or need help in any way.
And I go as often as I can. You are 3 hours ahead of me, and that's 6 o'clock in the morning, my time. But it's a really great community of women, very supportive. We kind of do some impromptu coaching sometimes when we're struggling with issues or whatnot. So I highly recommend it. All of that will be in the show notes. And yeah, thanks again for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And tune in next time, and we'll see you then. Thank you for tuning in to Imperfect Momming. It's time for us to step up and realize that our power is not in trying to shape our children. Our power lies in shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Don't just do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. When you become a more self-aware, compassionate, and confident person, you and everyone around you benefit. For more information about me and my work, visit AlysiaLyons.com. That's AlysiaLyons.com. See you next time.